different people from so many different races. One of the most interesting pieces of research that I have done here in the city is the court records. And in the court records, I found thousands of English and Irish women being brought before the court from mulatto bastards because they had children with slave men. The laws of the state of Maryland said you couldn't marry a slave. But a white woman gives this child that's born something different than a slave woman. Just tell me one thing that child will have if their mother is white versus their mother being black.
Freedom.
She has the rights, or he has the rights of the mother. And this is something else that's very interesting. The way that we track people through the census is through their name. So a child born of a black father and a white mother has a last name. And so when people go to Brewer Hill Cemetery, they don't understand why all these black people have Irish names. I said, do I really have to take you back? Very interesting story. So when you see the census in Annapolis, all the streets are interracial. When I grew up, Charles Street, where Jonas Greenhouse was white. The lower end by the water was black. Then I find in the records that when the First Baptist Church started their church on Market Street, they used to baptize their people on Charles Street in February. But it shows you what kind of town this is and the connections between people. They're so much closer than what we actually realize. So the first woman that you're going to meet is going to tell you a little bit different story about the Annapolis she remembers. Is she a slave? Is she free? She's going to tell you her story. So I want you all to welcome to the stage Jane Minsky Ennis Bishop. Jane, are you there? She's got a story to tell. Yes, ma'am.
My hearing isn't with me.
Dear there. Don't go very far. Well, the deer isn't there. I bought my sewing. I'll do some sewing. Make myself useful. I hear people here. Ah, good morning, a fine morning to you. You have to mind me now. I don't see as well as I used to. But I sure do enjoy business. Thanks so much for coming. I hear tell on account of Miss Williams saying that folks want to hear my story. Want to hear my story? Yeah. Well, I like telling it on account of if you don't tell it, how's it gonna pass on? Why, I make my grands and my great-grands sit down, and Lord knows they're huffing and a puffing and they always telling me, you already told me that. And I'm gonna keep on telling you. Because I know these half listening. I would have sang when I was their age. All right, then where to begin? Well, I'll begin with my name. Name's Jane Minsky Ennis Bishop. And I earned every last one of them names. Now, I don't know who my parents were. I done searched my memory and large and wide and low, and behold, the earliest I can remember is being in the Minsky household. That's the earliest. Now, I was their slave, I was their servant, but I always looked at them close, sees if there might be a little Minsky blood in me, on account of they give me their name. I took care of the little ones, these little ones, till I was old enough to go around to the tavern there on Main Street what they had. Then I worked there. Oh my, oh my, oh my. The comings and goings I see in that time. The legislators, Irish indentions, all manner of folks come up in there. Why, drink will bring every manner of folk together, won't it now? Don't see no difference when there's an ale in front of me. Well, I worked there, serving and everything. Me being a pretty fetching young thing. Folks thought they could have his way with me. There's many a men folk that would pull me down on his knee. But Mistress Minsky, oh Lord, she wasn't having that none. No, sir. God bless her. Now, I know you can't see it to look at me now, but I will fetch it. Well, I worked on there till I married. I married John Ennis. You following me now? Yes, Jane Minsky Ennis. Of course, there weren't no marriage like fine folks know up in a church or nothing like that. No. We jumped the broom, we did. And we had us a son. Now, we had John Jr., and shortly after John Jr. were born, Big John met with an accident and he died. By this time, the Minskys had already sold the tavern to the Callahans and sold me right off along with it. So I suppose if there was any blood in there, I was the only one thinking about it. Well, it didn't matter none. I was a full-grown woman by this time with my own family. Big John died, and the Callahans hired out my son, Little John, when he was old enough. They ain't like children around in those days, see. Of course, best thing was that he remained here in Annapolis, and I guess to see him. Now, ain't like on the plantation now. You could be a slave and live off the property as long as you was coming into work every day and they trusted you, and they trusted me now. I've been doing it since the Minskys, and the Minskys told them, she's fine. She's fine work. Well, anyway, things go on day after day, just as things do, when one day, 3 brothers come into the tavern. They was from England. They come in and they have these libations like any other day. But one of them can't take his eyes off me now. While he look at me, staring at me, and here was one I didn't mind so much. Why, I stared back as much as a lady can, and he made me smile. Well, the moment come when the brothers rise to go, and I saddened, thinking, why now will I ever see this man again? Well, that man tell his brothers, go on ahead, he'd catch up with him. Never did catch up with him. No, he stayed behind. Marry me. That's right, what you say? I know you was wondering, how's that possible? Here it is. Annapolis,
this time, it was near, it's at 1800s. And near half this town was Negro. That's right, check the records. Near half this town was Negro, and half of them was free. And I already told you about living off the property. Callahan's, they trust me. His name was William Henry Bishop. You following me? Jane, Minsky, Annis, Bishop. Ain't no more names after that. No, that was a love. That was a love. We married for love. Weren't so normal, of course, among the slaves. If they could, they'd marry for love. But the fine folks, Lord have mercy, they marry for all the reasons, except in love most times. I often hear them say that they come to love one another after time. Some of them never do. But it's an arrangement, you see. And even though I love William Bishop, and we had an arrangement too, fact is we had 4 children. Now me being mulatto, him being white, my first child, Henry, he was as bright as the brightest day. Looked just like his daddy. Look in the mirror and see his daddy's face. You'd never know there was Negro in it. Now the Callahans freed all my children when they become age of 21. That's how they got to be so many free folks around here. You check them court records, you see that indentured servants, white ones, was taken to court for bastardry on account of they was pregnant with a slave. They'd have to serve more indenture, and these children would be bound out till the age of 31. Well, a whole slew of them children was coming 2 days free. So free Negroes was all over this town. Well, when my son reached the age of 21, and the Callahans freed him, he moved out west somewhere, never to be seen or heard from him. I'm near sure he's out there passing. Now, of course, he ain't say nothing to nobody before he left, but if we'd had us a discussion, I would have told him, child, if that's what you gonna do, don't you have yourself no children. You understand me? Just because you's like right, don't mean you're chilling with them. Look at your brothers. Ain't a day go by, I don't think about him. Our second child, William Henry Bishop Jr., yes, William Henry Jr. Why, he's the one I got the most to tell about, so I'll come back to him. After him was James. You know James, don't you? He got himself a tobacco shop right up here on West Street. Fine young man. Good church going man. Go to church like all of us right here at St. Anne's. He's single? Interested, you got a good family. Come and visit me on your own someday. We'll have us a discussion. I'll arrange something so that you can meet me.